misfunction this morning, and so I've been discombobulated since then. Elisa prayed over my printer, and it seems to be working well now, but I'm a little discombobulated. So this month, historically in religious science, Centers for Spiritual Living, we talk about the fundamentals of our belief system, our philosophy. So a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how there is only one, and that we are one with the one. And last week, I talked about what you think is what you get, or change your thinking, change your life, how our thoughts are creative. And then in alignment with that, this week, I'm talking about we announce. And so Ernest Holmes, our founder, said that we do not pray with a beseeching, pitiful, begging mentality. We announce what we wish the universe to provide for us, and because of the law, which is simply that our words are creative, and what we speak into the universe flows back to us. The master teacher, Jesus, said, "It is done unto you as you believe." And that's how, in this belief system, our philosophy, we announce. We don't ask, we don't beg, we just state what it is. And the universe then takes our words and creates them for us. I want to read you a quote from Ernest Holmes, who said, "Prosperity is in our own hands to do with as we will, but we will never reach it until we learn to control our thought. We must see only what we want and never allow the other things to enter. The thing to do is to unify ourselves with the biggest ideas that we can encompass, and realizing that our ideas govern our power of attraction. We should constantly enlarge within ourselves. We must realize our oneness with all power and know that our word will bring it to pass. We speak the word, it is brought to pass." Let me read it again. I always like to read it again because then we hear it more deeply when we know where we're going with it. "Prosperity is in our own hands to do with as we will, but we will never reach it until we control our thought. We must see only what we want and never allow the other things to enter. The thing to do is to unify ourselves with the biggest ideas that we can encompass, and realize that our ideas govern our power of attraction. We should be constantly enlarging within ourselves. We must realize our oneness with all power and know that our word will bring it to pass. We speak the word, it is brought to pass." So, once more, our style of prayer is to announce. And so Ernest called this law, the speaking into and the creation, he called that the science, which is part of religious science, meaning that it is always reproducible. It is provable. It's not some woolly-nilly poo-poo-poo. It's firm. It's a law. Just like gravity is a law. You don't jump off a building and expect a different outcome. You don't speak your word and expect a different outcome. So I want to just tell you a couple of examples of how prayer, announcing, has worked in my life. And I know we all have examples, but I have a couple I want to share. I had a client who was anxious to find a new opportunity for volunteering. She was a writer, and in the center that we were in, every time somebody wanted something written, they would call on her. And she was anxious to expand her volunteer opportunities. So she came to me and we worked as practitioner and client, and we talked about it. And then I did a prayer treatment for her. And in that prayer treatment, a vision of bubbles kept coming up and showing themselves. So I spoke it out. She left, and about 10 minutes later, she called me with a level of hysteria, of laughter, because that prayer treatment was demonstrated in this way. After she left, she got a phone call from a woman who was expecting family to come visit. And this woman was unwell. She wanted help with cleaning her bathroom. And so my client went to clean the bathroom with Mr. Bubble.
Scrubbing bubbles.
Scrubbing bubbles. Now, here's the thing. That was funny, and it was frivolous, except that the woman that she was working with was dying, and this cleaning person, my client, was able to be present with her on a deeper basis and be a healing agent for the visiting family and the woman who was dying. So as Mr. Bubbles showed up, as the bubbles showed up, the answered prayer in a way that I could never have figured out, for her to volunteer to clean a bathroom, which was very healing. The law does not know big or little. It doesn't know small or large. When we speak, that's what we are creating. And it behooves all of us to watch what we say, to watch what we put out into the universe to create. Another example of a healing prayer, was that my husband's left eye was gone. He couldn't see, he had no vision from the left eye. So he went to the doctor, and the doctor said, no, this will never be corrected. You had some kind of stroke in your left eye, and so it's gone. And he said to me when he got back in the car, he told me that, and then he said, but she doesn't know that we're praying people. So guess what? When he went for his next checkup, he could see out of that left eye, and the doctor made no remark about it whatsoever. Huh. So she witnessed a miracle and she didn't even acknowledge it. That's interesting to me. My sister had been diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and my mother and I were praying people. So in integrity, in this philosophy, we never ask, we never pray for anybody without asking their permission. And I'll tell you why in a moment about that. So I asked my sister, and my sister, who is a proclaimed atheist, She said, oh, that'll be okay. I know it gives you and mothers so much comfort to pray. When she was diagnosed, she was stage 4. They weren't expecting her to live. That was 20 years ago. Oh, it gave us so much pleasure to pray.
Is she still in Vegas?
She, well, you know, she's obstinate. She said, now what, you know, okay, so the rest of the story is, she saw a shaman, and so the shaman healed her. I know. It doesn't matter how it gets done, does it? Not at all.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
It is, exactly. I know.
Team effort.
So here's why, one of the reasons, an example of why we don't pray without permission. Now it's okay, I do pray for someone's highest and best no matter what, because that's harmless. But to pray for specifics is out of integrity, out of alignment with our practice in this philosophy. And this is one of the examples as to why that would be. Larry Dossey tells this story in his book about healing prayer. There was a young woman who wanted to be a writer. And she kept meeting with problems and barricades, and she just finally decided, oh, it's just not meant to be. I'll just give it up. So her mother came to visit, and she picked her mother up at the airport, and she said to her mom, I'm just not getting anywhere with this writing thing. She said, I just decided to give it up. And her mother said, oh, thank God. I've been praying because you just tell secrets about the family that I don't want to be known.
Oh my.
I know. So when this young woman realized that her mother had actually been praying against her, then she was able to step into her own power and became very successful as a writer. But that is an example of why we're careful about how we pray, because prayer works. And to use the words and use the law for harm always comes back to you. Remember last week we talked about it is done, what you think is what you get. And so if you think negative, destructive thoughts, look out, you better duck, because here it comes, right at you. Words are powerful. They are entered into the law, and they come back to you. Now, in this philosophy, Ernest Holmes only prayed affirmatively. But then, folks have got to get themselves into the act. So somewhere along the line, in this organization, they created 5 steps of affirmative prayer. And those steps are to recognize the divine, that there is one power, one presence. That's step 1, recognition. Step 2 is unification. Knowing that I am part of that one whole. Because there is only one God, I am one with it. That's the second step, unification. And then the third step is realization. Speaking what it is that you are claiming, the good that you are claiming. That's realization. And then the fourth step, which is probably the most important, is just giving thanks for it showing up in your life. Thanksgiving. And then the fifth step is to get out of the way, to turn it loose, and to trust the universe to flow it to you in a way that is perfect. I know you've all heard the story of the guy that was praying for to be saved on top of the roof, and the boats kept coming and coming and coming, and he would say, no, God's going to save me, as he goes, blah, 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 because he had an idea of what God saving him looked like, when in fact, there were many opportunities. So when we turn it loose, when we get out of the way, when we let go of what we're expecting, then the universe, God, that law, that creative force, that creative source can flow the solutions to us in such amazing, creative ways. Ways that we can never think of. So those are the 5 steps that we in this philosophy use for affirmative prayer. Recognition, unification, realization, thanks, and release. It's infallible. But what happens is we get caught in the catch-22. We either are not clear about what we want, or we rethink it, we look at it, and we say, oh, well, that's not happening. And that is what you believe. That's not happening. So the universe says, okay, that is not happening. Our doubt is as powerful a prayer as our affirmative prayer. The yes buts are prayers. And we get ourselves all trapped in that yes but. It hasn't happened, but that's not the way. And so that law, that universe says, okay, it's done unto you as you believe. If you're going to go around in circles, then that's what you get. And see, just this morning, I was going around in circles, right? I couldn't get the printer to work, and therefore I was late, and there, blah, 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 blah. It took me, 10 minutes to get settled here? Find my breath, find myself. We just sometimes are thick and don't learn it. But prayer and faith are like muscles. The more we use them, the more we notice how they're fulfilled, the better we get at it, and the clearer our mind becomes, the more in alignment we are with Spirit. It cannot be otherwise. It's the law. It must be. So I just want to close with another reading from Ernest. And he says this. This was in Creative Mind. As consciousness grows, it'll manifest in larger opportunities and greater field of action. Feel that you are surrounded by all the power that there is when you speak, and never doubt what you say will spring into being. We should speak right out into mind all that we desire and believe that it will be done unto us. See yourself as being in the position that you desire. Mentally dwell upon it and then speak with perfect assurance that it is done. And then forget it and trust the law. Remember that you cannot hope to get results unless you keep but the one idea, and do not mix thoughts in your mind. All is yours, but you must take it. The taking is always a mental process. It is believing absolutely. That is the divine principle. May I read that again? As consciousness grows, it will manifest in enlarged opportunities and a greater field of action. Feel that you are surrounded by all the power there is when you speak, and never doubt what you say will spring into being. We should speak right out into mind all that we desire and believe that it will be done unto us. See yourself as being in the position that you desire. Mentally dwell upon it, and then speak with perfect assurance that it is done. And then forget it and trust in the law. Remember that you cannot hope to get results unless you keep but the one idea, and do not mix thoughts in your mind. All is yours, but you must take it. The taking is always a mental process. It is believing absolutely. This is the divine principle. So, I want you all to know that I love you. And so it is. I would like the minister and the practitioners to stand with me as we hold this community in consciousness. So I invite you to turn within to that place where you are absolutely clear about the divine law, the essence. That place within you where you absolutely are certain that you are one with the divine God, the power. And then allow me to speak into the law on each of our behalves. I call forth that essence of the divine peace that is our very nature. Knowing that peace is possible because I am feeling it right this moment. Vigorous, vital, vibrant good health is possible because I am feeling it right this moment. Prosperity and abundance is possible because I am feeling it right this moment. Love and whole, dynamic, vital relationships are possible because I am engaged in relationship. I'm engaged in love right this moment. Whatever is called for is fulfilled right this moment. My words have power. Your words have power. Your thoughts are powerful. And God is so loving and so good. That creative essence is flowing solutions, opportunities. And so I am deeply grateful for all of that. I'm grateful for the good that the whole universe flows into my life, to your life, to life of those that we love, the other 7.5 billion people in this world are divine beings. And I reach into my heart and touch all in love. And so tomorrow, as we grow together, to come together to celebrate the peace and the harmony that was represented by Martin Luther King, I know that peace is mine now. That peace is manifest now. So with love and gratitude, with joy and celebration, I just let it all go. I step out of the way, trusting fully that the divine is at work. And I know it is good. I invite you to declare that with me and own it with me by saying, and so it is. Thank you. So we're going to have another song.